Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design. I'm your host, Nicole. We are here talking about a very foundational, exciting human design topic today. We are going to dive into our human design channels and what they mean. We're going to talk about them from a pretty high level. I'm not going to get into too much detail as far as getting into specific channels, but I'm going to tell you why channels are important, what we use them for, how they're affecting you, your chart, and what you can do with the channels that you do have as you start diving into them. I do want to say that first, you're always starting with that human design trifecta, that type, authority, and profile. That is that core foundation of your human design journey. So if you're not diving into that, if you haven't really solidified that, and you haven't started diving into your centers and what that means, that certainly comes first. But I get how human design is a rabbit hole. We're all intoxicated and so excited by this information that we want to know everything. It's like, oh, I have this channel of surrender. What does that mean? Oh my goodness, I have the channel of mating, which is an actual channel that I have. And certainly when I read that, I was like, what the hell does that mean? And ew, why? And we can certainly have a reaction to them like I did with that one. 36 channels in the body graph. I'm going to explain from a high level what this means. Like I said, we're not going to get into each individual channel because that'd be a whole lot more than a podcast. I'm going to tell you about what we use channels for and how they show up for you. But like I said, that foundation of the core of human design is where you want to be focusing your efforts. But I'm hoping that this episode tickles your fancy a little bit, gives you a little bit more information, and gets you excited about the channels, and in turn, hopefully gets you excited to dive into those foundational elements, because when you start living by your design, then your channels start to show up in a bigger and bigger way. So let's get excited about the channels, because it is your potential. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. It holds a very key piece of your specific, unique potential. We're all trying to stand out, right? Whether you're trying to stand out in a corporate job or you're trying to stand out in the online space as an entrepreneur, or you're trying to stand out with the moms group, the PTA. I don't know where you're looking to stand out, but we all want to make our mark. I think one of the most common things that I hear from people is that their greatest fear is that their potential will not be realized. And human design allows us to see what our potential is and give us a path and a map to how to unfold into that potential and start shining that light brighter and brighter in the world. And your channels are certainly a big part of that light. So we'll talk about that. If you haven't started diving into that trifecta, if you haven't started living by your design, I invite you to check out the Human Design Lab, which is open for business. That is my new membership community that we opened up, which I'm super excited about. We have a lot of things going on in there. Human design is an experiment. First and foremost, it's not just an information base like so many people treat it as. Like, I just want to learn all of this stuff about myself. But if you're not putting into action, you're not experiencing the magic. I created the Human Design Lab to fix that problem. I provide practical solutions. I'm a 5/1 manifesting generator. I provide practical solutions to people for the problems that I see in the world. And this is the practical solution to the problem that I saw, which was that people were learning about human design. They were intoxicated by the information, but they weren't actually using it. So they weren't experiencing that potential that they have for themselves. In fact, it could become frustrating and sometimes damaging if you're not getting the information from the right places and you're not putting what you learn into action. So like a gym where you have to go and work out, you can't just read about working out. We created the lab for that. We wanted to make it really affordable where people could jump in, start using their design, learn really good, solid information, and have the support of a community, hear what other people are experimenting with, and we take you through so many aspects. We take you through your type, authority, profile, centers, and all of it unfolds in a digestible way month after month. So you're getting mini transformations every single month rather than just drinking from a fire hose all the information. So I invite you to check that out at nicolelano.me/lab, or go to nicolelano.me/podcast links, and you get all the links to all the things that we are doing. So if you're interested in more than just the lab, check out what we're doing over there, and you can get more information. Or you can reach out to me on Instagram, send me a DM if you're curious about something. I'm happy to answer questions for you. Okay, so let's dive into channels. Like I said, we all know type, authority, and profile, that core foundation. We know that the 9 centers are our big energetic themes. The defined ones are the themes that we're here to put out in the world. They're who we're here to be. They are what's consistent for us. This is where our type and our authority come from, is what centers are defined for us. And the undefined centers are where we're sensitive, where we're receiving, where we feel other people's stuff more naturally, where we're more open and flexible, where we're inconsistent in that energy. So we know a lot about it because we're experiencing it differently all the time. That's the centers, right? Then we know the gates. The gates are the energetic sub-themes of the centers. So each center has all the numbers in it, right? And each number is a gate. And those numbers, those gates, represent a sub-theme of the center. Just find my Human Design Gates episode if you want to hear more about gates. But gates are the sub-theme of the center. So every gate inside the head center, the 3 gates that are in the head center, all have something to do with the overall theme of inspiration and pressure to inspire, to ask questions, to answer questions. They all have a theme associated with the head center. And it goes that way all the way through all of the centers. Now, the channels are those little roads that connect all of the centers. So you'll see that as you go through, most people have at least one channel defined. Many people have more. And a small portion of the population, our reflectors, have no channels. And the reason for that is the channels are what give the centers their definition. So if you have centers defined in your body graph, if you are anything other than a reflector, some of the centers are colored in for you, at least 2. No one has one center defined because it requires a channel to make a center defined. What I mean by that is if you look at the throat center, if you had gate 35 in the throat, and then you had gate 36 in the solar plexus, if you're looking at the body graph, that would be the top right corner of the throat center, and then down to the top corner of the solar plexus on the right-hand side of the body graph, you'd get that channel of transitoriness. Now, if you had those two connect, and you had gate 35 defined and gate 36 defined, that would define both gates at the end of that channel. That channel then passes energy. Energy can move freely. The theme of that transitoriness can move from the solar plexus. The solar plexus can talk to the throat center. The throat center can talk to the emotional center, so to speak. They have this consistent flow. There is this consistent energetic connection and pathway that moves from one center to the other. So that is why if you had that channel, you would have the throat center defined and you would have the solar plexus center defined. That might be your only one. I don't know. And that would make you a manifester because that is a manifested channel. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means. So that gate 35 and gate 36, the channel of transitoriness that those two gates make up when they come together, it isn't just gate 35 plus gate 36. It isn't just the two themes. So if you look up, there's a definition for gate 35, and then there's a definition for gate 36. The channel is more than that. The channel is going to be something to do with action and emotions, but it's greater than the sum of its parts. It's not just these two gates put together and let's get a meaning from the two. It's like the two gates get together and they have a baby. Just like a child would have characteristics of its parents, but it's not going to be exactly like its parents. And it's not going to be like this plus this equals this. It's going to be some of this, and each person is going to have this show up differently for them. It's this genetic sort of pairing that we get from these two gates. We get this little baby that becomes the channel. And it's really how the two centers interact. So the channel becomes this way that, in this example, the solar plexus and the throat, it determines their relationship. And this is where we're getting into how your channels can make such a difference in the way that you show up and who you're here to be, and why you live your life the way that you do, why some things feel really natural to you, why people look to you as being an authority in certain ways. Because that's what channels really end up being, is they are a very specific potential for you. They're going to be a stronger potential than just a hanging gate. They're going to determine the way that your solar plexus, the way that your emotional themes show up, and your throat theme shows up. And again, speaking in that example that I gave of the 35-36, but say you had the 14-2 going from the sacral to the G center, right up the middle. That's going to determine the way that your identity is formed. It's based on that channel. And it's going to determine what is your sacral fueling. It's fueling direction, because that is what that channel is about. It's about the fuel to move in a direction. And that determines the identity of that person, how they show up, who they're here to be, because it's connecting what they do, sacral, based on their response, and the identity, who they are, how they see themselves. And this is specifically a gate of direction that we're talking about here. The channels that you have are going to be the things that you have the potential to be influential with. They're going to determine your energy. So me having the 59-6, which is the channel of mating, that connects my sacral to my solar plexus. It is what makes me an emotional authority, and I am a manifesting generator with emotional authority. So this is a very important channel for me, because it's what makes me both of those things. It's what makes me a generator. It is what makes me emotional. It's not what makes me manifesting, because it's a different set of channels that makes me a manifesting generator. So this is how it's so interesting. And when you start to dive into it, it starts to show you where things might feel like they're missing, why things might feel hard, why some things might feel very easy to you. This is the energy that is you. So for me, having the 59-6, the channel of mating, yes, there's sexuality involved in it and all that, but it's really the channel of, it's the aura breaker. It is about building emotional connection to people and the ability to do that very quickly. I have always done that. I have always built very strong bonds with people quickly. I have other aspects of my design that change how that shows up for me, but people feel very safe with me very, very quickly. People will feel very comfortable with me telling me things that they maybe wouldn't tell somebody that they've known a lot longer. And I never really knew why. These are things that through human design, I've been able to see that and say, I'm going to claim that as a real gift of mine, not just something that happens sometimes. So when I look at my coaching practice and I look at what I do, how I show up, the messaging that I put out there, I do talk about that. And part of the reason I still do sales calls is because why would I cut off my own ability to make a connection with somebody one-on-one as long as they are qualified to have a call with me? You know, it's not just somebody looking to ask me coaching questions for free. I no longer do that. My time is far too precious at this point. But I know there's a lot of coaches out there, they don't do sales calls, and that's good for you. I don't think it's right or wrong. And this is why those hard and fast rules of you shouldn't do sales calls, you shouldn't do this, you should do this, in this coaching world where we hear that somebody did it their way and it worked for them and it's become a new way of being for them, we start to take that on, be conditioned by the desire to have what they have, that we're willing to break our own rules or the things that feel true and right to us because somebody said that it worked for them. And so this is where you start to understand, I understand myself so deeply and what people pick up from me. People can pick up a sexual energy from me. Not really anymore. I don't think I put out that, but I'm very aware of the vibe that I put out. But certainly when I was younger, there was a tension that I got that I didn't necessarily understand. If I had understood this channel at that time, I would have understood how to work with it more, and how it's not so much controlling the energy, it's just recognizing what people are responding to in you, that there's an energetic thing that's happening. And all of your channels carry a frequency that comes out from you, and it's stronger than just a gate. It is something that makes you you, and it's something that people respond to, for better or for worse, from you. So understanding these are clues as to what is going to make you stand out from the crowd. These are clues that are going to help you understand how you are differentiated in the marketplace, how you deliver uniquely as you, what people will get from being around you. That's a gift that I have. The 59.6 is not an easy channel to deal with, let me tell you. And it certainly wasn't easy in my earlier years, but there's a reason that I structure my Unshakable Entrepreneur program where people have a lot of connection with me, because I can get you someplace through that connection. I can help you understand more about you by me being in true connection with you. I don't want to be behind a wall. I want to have that connection, because that's where I can provide the most value, and I can do it with the least amount of resistance, because it's just something that I do. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to try to do it. It's just who I am. If I'm your person, that is, I can't break everyone's aura. Not everybody is my person. But if you're my person and you end up in one of my containers, I know that there's potential for us to do really amazing work together just by us doing the work together, by me being there and opening people up to something new. I don't have to think about it. And then the rest of my design starts to take over. Me understanding my 1648 channel, the channel of the wavelength. All of these gave me a deeper understanding into where I was operating in the shadow, how to bring it into a gift so then it could actually be used and felt by people, where it was bringing them in and making them see me as an authority and somebody they should listen to. And again, it's not changing what I say. It's changing my frequency. And this is what I mean when we talk about the energetic frequency of your human design. This is what we're talking about. When I talk about those dials, are they turned up? And understanding your channels is a really key thing to understand, whether you are turning the dial up on that particular theme, or is the dial turned down? And that's where you can start to see real issues in the way that people are responding to you. If that dial is turned down, then you're sending out a funky frequency on something that you're sending out a strong frequency on. So is it a low vibe, but it's a very strong frequency where people can feel it? Or is it so repressed that it's a gift that you're not allowing anyone to see? Or you're thinking you need to work with it, you need to change something or do a whole lot more. This is where we can think that we need to push. There are different types of channels. So another aspect of channels is they operate differently. They all have different functions, and they're all part of different circuits. Now, like I said, I don't want this to be like an hour-long episode, so we will get into those more detailed themes in possibly another episode. Maybe we'll do a masterclass or something on that. If you're interested, please let me know and what you'd like to know about them so I can see what other content we can create. But the different types of channels, some channels are what we call generated, meaning they come from the sacral center. They have generating power, the power to do something, to realize something in the world, to make it happen. Manifested channels. These are the channels that come from a motor center and they move directly to the throat. A manifested channel is an uninterrupted initiating energy. It's the energy that wants to just make it out into the world. There's a lot of power behind it. It's a very powerful energy that doesn't have to wait to respond to anything. It just moves. and it goes into action. Projected channels, which need to be asked for. Most of the channels in the body graph are projected. So understanding if you have projected channels, maybe when you push out that energy, it's not received well. Because projected channels, just like all projected energy, need to be invited and need to be asked for. So by understanding that if you have all projected channels, that might be why you feel like you need to wait more than if you were just looking into your type and authority, maybe more than if you're a sacral authority and you're a generator, a manifesting generator. When you have all these projected channels, it might be why you feel like when you do certain things, you hesitate, or it doesn't feel right, or it doesn't feel like that energy flows. It might be because it's projected and it needs to be invited. There's an energetic kind of hesitation with it because it needs to be asked for. Or when you push it out, in order for it to be received well, other people need to ask you for it first, for that wisdom. And then there's different circuits with the channels. The channels all represent a different flavor. So there are individual channels, which we refer to it as mutation. They're here to change something. They're here to be new. They're here to be a creative expression. And we have tribal circuits, and that is about more of a closer community, the people you know, your tribe, so to speak. And then we have collective, which is about sharing. It's a keynote of sharing. And the tribal circuit is also about support, resources. And then you have the collective circuitry, which is about sharing. And then we have sub-circuits of all of those. It's complex. And there's definitely a lot there. And it's certainly something that goes into more of the advanced human design knowledge and training. But understanding these themes of at least what you have in your chart can really be eye-opening and life-changing. And when we start to understand this as far as looking at messaging, looking at your business structure, if you're an entrepreneur or you're looking at this for career guidance, then channels are certainly something that you want to take a look at. And I hope this made you curious about them, gave you a little bit of information, laid the land of what they look like and generally what they mean and how they show up in your chart and what they can mean for you. I hope that we were able to do that in this episode, because they are your gifts. They are really, really strong gifts. And the big question is, do you understand the nuances of them enough? And are you using them in a high expression and in a high frequency? Or are they going out in a way that doesn't feel right to you or to others? Because the channels can hold a clue as to why things aren't quite working and why they aren't singing in your life, or where you're experiencing some resistance. So I hope you loved the episode. Please let me know. Drop a little screenshot of the episode in your Instagram stories and tag me. I'm at Nicole Leno Official. I'd love to see you there, and I will certainly give you a shout out on my page if you share it. Tell me what you loved about the episode. Please subscribe to this show so you don't miss any episodes. We try to provide you with really high value content twice a week. So please subscribe to us and share this with your friends. Let them know that you love the show and let them know why. Anyone that might be human design curious in your world, or if you know an entrepreneur who really needs to dive into a new way of approaching personal development and personal mastery, this might be the place for them, and I would love to be the one who serves them. So please let them know and help us spread the word about this show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here all the way to the end of this episode. I appreciate you. Look into the Human Design Lab to see if you would like to get going with your human design and go beyond the knowledge. We would love to see you in there. Go to nicoleleno.me/lab to check that out. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So we hope we helped you on that journey today. And we hope you join us next time, where we can help you continue your journey of becoming unshakable with human design. We will see you then. If you love this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to nicoleleno.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.